everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Don't mind Tigger back here. She's obsessed with these flowers and I don't think she's leaving anytime soon. So she is going to be in the video because I've been waiting for her to leave. Oh. So today we're going to do a video on bronzers. So I do have lots of bronzers, and initially when I started doing my collection, like makeup collection videos, I said I was going to do my bronzers and highlighters together. But because I have so many highlighters apparently, that I'm going to do them in two separate videos just so that it isn't boring, it isn't super long. So we're going to go through my bronzers today. All of these bronzers that you do see here, we're going to touch on. We're going to go through if I would repurchase them, a swatch of them, what type of skin tone I would recommend for these bronzers, as well as kind of the price point of them. So if you want to see my collection of bronzers and what I think about the ones that I have purchased, then go ahead and keep on watching. So the very first one I see here is my Lise Watier bronzer. So Lise Watier is Canadian, but you can order it online. So I will link this bronzer down below just because I've had mine for a couple of years now, but they have came out with their summer collection and this bronzer is in there. It's just a re-promote. So I will link it down below for you guys to check out. It's an affordable price. I believe it's like $45 and you get so much product. This is a bronzer where you have to be quite fair to use it. I would say this bronzer won't work on someone who has more of like a medium to dark skin tone. This will work on more of like fair to light, just because it is more of like a light tone bronzer, as well as it has like the pink shades and the champagne shade in there, so it does lighten the bronzer a little bit. The next bronzer I have here is the Chanel Cream Bronzer. I have had this bronzer for a little while now. I've had it for a little over a year and it has lasted a long time. A little bit goes a long way. It is well worth the money. I love it, and I always set this product with the powder, so do keep that in mind. You don't want to do a cream formula and then not set it with something, but I love this product. It's a beautiful bronzer, but again, it's one of those bronzers that works for light to medium. It will not work for darker skin tone because it's more of like a neutral shade. It doesn't have any ashy tones, it doesn't have any really dark bronzy tones. It's more of like a neutral bronze, a matte bronzer. Then this is only going to work for lighter skin tones. This I believe was like around $60. I did get mine from Hudson's Bay, but I know you can get it from like Nordstrom or Holt Renfrew. You get something like this. So this is a great bronzer and I would definitely repurchase this when mine's gone. The next bronzer I see here is my Hourglass Ambient Light Bronzer. So this one is in the shade Light. I do love this. I did purchase this because Alex Garza off here on YouTube did say that she loved this product. It looked beautiful on her, so I had to run out and get it. I purchased mine from Sephora. I believe it's around $56, $60, something like that. It was well worth the money. I really do like it, but keep in mind that it is a light shade. There is a darker shade as well, and it is something where it has that ambient light powder in it, so it's something where it has that shimmer already in there. So if you're looking for a matte bronzer that has no shimmer, no radiance, no glow to it, then this is not a bronzer for you. But if you're looking for one with a little bit of glow and a little bit of shimmer, this is a great one. The next one I see here is a Milani Tantalizer bronzer. So this is for face and body. This one is not really a bronzer, it's more of like shimmer, and it would be beautiful for the body, but I use it more of a topper than a bronzer by itself because it is so shimmery. So if you're looking for a great like topper for some glow to the skin or to the body, this is a great option. It also is drugstore, so it's super affordable and you get lots of product in there. I have two other Milani bronzers here, and the first one I have is 04 Glow. So this is a full-size bronzer. It's a beautiful color. It's your basic typical bronzer, so it's gonna have a little bit of that shimmer. It is not matte. It's beautiful for every skin tone, but it's a typical bronze shade, so it's not too orange, it's not too ashy. It's right in between, like a warm bronzer. I love this product. I love that it's drugstore and the quality is amazing. It's so silky and smooth. It's a great option from the drugstore, and I believe it's like $10 or something. So great price point, great option, and I love this one. The last Milani product I have is a tiny little 06 Bellissimo Bronze. So I believe this one is a blush, but I use it more so for a bronzer just because it is more on the warm orange side. So I don't love this for my blush just because if I'm looking for like a coral, I wouldn't want an orange. So this one's a beautiful product if you are on a darker side. Fair to light skin tones, this one comes off really orange. It also does have shimmer in it, so it does have that luminescence kind of shimmery glow like most of the Milani products do have. So if you're looking for a matte bronzer, This is not matte. This is not something I would say would work for contouring, anything like that. It is a very orange tone bronzer. If I was to see this again, I probably would not repurchase it just because of my skin tone. Again, it's in the same family of being that silky smooth texture that Milani normally has. So it's a beautiful product, just not for me. The next bronzer I see here is a Bobbi Brown bronzer. This one is in number 4, Aruba. So this is one bronzer where I have hit pan in. I've had this for quite a long time, and normally with my powder products I do keep them a little bit past what they recommend, just because a powder product does last a little bit longer than something like a mascara or a lipstick, that kind of thing. I do love this bronzer, but sticking with kind of the family that I do have, most of them do have a little bit of that shimmer in it. So this one is definitely not matte. It does have little granules of shimmer pigments in it, so it does give you a nice like summer glow. But I do pull this one out mostly in the summer. I don't normally use glowy shimmery ones in the winter, but I do pull this out in the summer. It's a beautiful product if you love Bobbi Brown. It is a little bit more on the granule side, so it's not as creamy as something like the Ambient Light bronzer or like the Milani bronzer. This one's a little bit harder to get any pigment from, so you really have to swish the brush around in it. So this is something I probably would not repurchase, even though I have hit pan on it, just because it's not something that I reach for all the time. So the next bronzer I have is a bronzer from Pure. I did rant and rave about this in one of my recent favorites videos. It's something that I've had in my collection for quite a long time, but I never touched. I never reached for it and I never used it. So this is something where in the past couple months it's been my go-to. This is a product where it works for fair to medium skin tones. It could also even potentially work for darker skin tones, just because the more product you put on, the darker it gets. This is a beautiful product. It is their Marble Bronzer. I'm definitely going to purchase their blushes in this formula. I love how soft it is, but it's just hard enough that you don't pick up too much product, and it's something I would recommend to everyone. It is in the higher end products as it is Pure Minerals, but it's well worth your money. Speaking of high end, I have my Kevyn Aucoin bronzer here. So this is a new bronzer to me. This is the Tropical Nights Cool Bronzer. So this is a very cool color. You could use this for more of a contouring as well because it is such an ashy tone. It is a beautiful bronzer. I love it. It is between $50 and $60, I believe, depending where you get it, but it is something where you have to be delicate with. You cannot use too much, because if you dip your brush in, you'll pick up so much product. It's also one of those where if you push too hard, the whole thing will crumble. So that's something to consider. This is not something I would travel with just because it would break so easily, but it's a beautiful bronzer, and especially if I'm looking for that like cool tone bronzy look, I probably would repurchase this. I also want to purchase their sculpting powder. I think they just came out with a light formula I saw, and it's one that I want to purchase. It's something that I'd probably get a lot of use out of, but it's beautiful. These products well thought out and well worth your money. So coming up with two matte bronzers here. This one is from the drugstore. This is an Essence bronzer. So this one is in 09 Soft Tan. This is a good everyday bronzer, so it isn't something that's too orange or too ashy. It's something that works for so many skin tones, as well as it's so affordable. So if you're in the market for a bronzer but you don't want to spend $60 like the Kevyn Aucoin, this is a great option. This is fully matte, has no shimmer, and works for so many skin tones. I believe it's like between $2.99 and $4.99, so great price point as well. I go to this one a lot. Surprisingly, even though I have like $60 bronzers over here, I reach for this guy a lot. So if you're looking for a great bronzer from the drugstore, this is a great option. Another drugstore product I have for you is the Butter Bronzer. So I did purchase this a couple months ago, and I did rant and rave about this one as well. It's beautiful. It's a great color for someone who's on the fair to light side. I would say if you're medium to dark, this is not a product that would work for you, even though I have heard that there is other colors. This one is in bronzer. It's a matte bronzer. It smells like pina colada. It's beautiful. I did think it was limited edition though, so I did purchase this one as well as a backup because I did love it so much, but I have been seeing it on the shelves everywhere, so clearly it's not limited edition. But it's a beautiful product. It is $20 from the drugstore, so comparing it to the Essence one, which is like tops $5, this is quite expensive for a drugstore product. The very last product I have is a deluxe size sample from Sephora of the Hoola Bronzer. So the Hoola Bronzer as everyone knows, has came out recently, and it is a liquid form of the Hoola bronzer. This bronzer is beautiful. It is something where if you're fair to medium skin tone, this will work for you. If you are dark, it will not work. It is a very light formula. Even on my tan days, I'm like, is this gonna work for my skin tone? Because it isn't very dark. You have to pack on a little bit more, as well as this is a cream product, so you always want to set it with a powder. It's beautiful. I love it. I love the scent of it. I love the stay power. It lasts forever, but also comes off so easily. This is a product where I'm not sure I would reach for all the time, just because it's an extra step. I could just put on the powder product, but if I did the extra step, I would do a cream then a powder. So something to consider if I want to go back and repurchase the full size of this product. But so far so good, and I am really liking it. So the very last thing I want to share with you is the brush that I use to apply my bronzer. I've used the same brush for a couple years now, and I haven't strayed away from it, nor have I tried to find another bronzer brush that I want to try. This is just a random brush from Winners. It is super dirty. As you can tell, I use it all the time, but it is a random brush from Winners that I lucked out and got a really good brush. I've had it for many years and I love it. I have no clue what brand this is. There's no brand on it. If I can find anything similar to it, I will link it down below for you. If you are in the market for a bronzer brush, check Marshalls or Winners, something like that, and see if you can find something like this, because I believe it was like $7.99 and the best bronzer brush I have ever tried. So if you can't find something like this, all I recommend is that you get a fluffy, soft brush. Something that's synthetic also will pick up your product a little bit better than something that is natural hairs. So thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I wanted to share with you guys my bronzer collection, to recommend a few products, to review a few products, to have a full little talk through bronzer collection with you guys, to tell you what you should purchase, what you should stay away from. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are new to my channel, be sure to subscribe so you get notifications every time I put up a video. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you soon.